Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. This is finally going to be the finale for the Zero to Hero series. It's been long awaited and it is finally here. We're going to go over some of the techniques and such, kind of just doing a wrap up of what we did during the challenge to make some currency, how we can apply that to some other currency making strategies as well, in case you're like not a fan of doing alpha or anything, right? Going to be going over the gear, going to be going over the bossing, which there will be a boss compilation of killing all the bosses. So that'll be kind of neat somewhere in the video. So you can take a look there, all unedited. And so you can kind of see how the build plays and such, and just how some generic bossing might be. So the character's level 91. I didn't want it to be too high, because if it gets too high in levels, I think for people it can be a little bit unachievable. So 91 solid, we could just keep mapping. But I think this was a great point for it to stick in terms of how many points we want. Decent armor, decent resistances, nothing too crazy. We can get better, but the gear itself is where I think the build shines. There's a lot of places here where the build can get upgrades. Like we're using like resistance and such on our weapon, right? This is something that we can end up placing out, get better attack speed, etc. But I wanted the gear to be somewhat cheap and obtainable, and this is what we end up using for the boss fights and such, which overall go pretty smoothly. I was very, very pleased. The gear itself, as you can see, is solid for sure, but definitely upgradable, and especially in the tree, and even just some levels will be really huge. Things like clusters, this might look really nice, but it's just a 2 notable passive here. It saves you a ton from 3 passives, especially when you're starting out. You can make really, really efficient purchases and get a lot of power through that. So in this case, we're just getting some additional armor, physical damage, and then in this case, getting 50% chance to ignore enemy physical damage reduction, and that is comboed through here, so we have 100%, which is really, really nice. So enemy armor doesn't matter. You can take all of those armor nodes and such in maps, like from the Eater Altars, I believe. I forget if Exarch has them, but that'll give you just full penetration on that, which is really, really nice. Then you get 10% more maximum physical attack damage as your mastery, which is really, really nice. The jewels in the tree are all rare, very, very flexible, and the build itself is very flexible. So if you want to repath it differently, etc., do whatever. You can switch ascendancy around. I really, really liked the Juggernaut just for a lot of tankiness, but it's completely up to you. Chieftain, you can get a decent amount of tankiness as well, which is really, really nice. This is a trade not part of the Zero to Hero series, which will go over the finances and such in a bit. But in terms of the tree itself, though, pretty straightforward. The rare jewels are going to replaceable, like we have like area damage, attack speed, two-handed damage, generic damage. Take a look what else we have, but yeah, it's very, very flexible. You can make them defensive as well, such as like life, recoup, etc. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Very nice, man. TUI. Very, very nice. I guess we can go over finances real quick. This is our ending finances. We sold off all the temples and such, and spent that on like boss invitations and such, which again, I think the temples were going for around about 2 divines or so a piece, which was very, very good. So it was pretty quick to farm up currency and then purchase the boss invitations and then run them. I ended up running the normal Eater and Exarch, so not the quest version, so a little bit harder, but like it's the showcase is going to show, you know, good enough anyway. So if you take it against like the quest versions, it'll be a lot easier. And obviously you wouldn't have to spend the money to actually fight those bosses, right? So that was very, it's very, very straightforward. So this is kind of our final currency and such after all of our upgrades. Taking one last look at the tree. Again, mostly just rare jewels. We have 1 physical attack damage, leeches mana, just to keep our mana up. Besides that, pretty simple. The POE will be in the description below in terms of what you want to build for, etc. If we take a look at Faustus, I think these are from, let's see if these are from Zero to Hero. These are, a couple of these sold. These are just some generic scarabs just finding on the ground and such, so add it. But most of our money, though, wasn't from Faustus. We did not use the shipping mechanic at all. So if we take a look at town and such, our treasure gold is empty. We have a lot of crops, a lot of smelted bars, dust, but none of this was used in order to generate any money. So if there's some league mechanic in the future, or the league mechanic now, whoever knows how long this league is going to last, then that's something you can definitely use to generate more money. That's totally fine. This is just something I chose in terms of the Atlas tree here in order to make the most amount of money. This is not it. Zero Heroes are final. And as you can see, a lot of the scope points are available. We didn't really spec in a lot here because you can kind of do whatever you want. This is just a generic getting started farming. I like to shrine for a little bit extra power in maps and such. Having some maps drop a little bit higher, which is really, really good, because for the most part of the challenge, we didn't have our Voidstones. We didn't have these in at all. So that was really, really important for us to get those higher map drop chance tier, however you want to word it. So now that we have these in, we don't need those points, but they're still nice, and it still does increase your map drops, which is really, really nice. So yeah, we come through here and we have like bold undertakings, which we don't actually use per se, but we're just getting there just to get shaping the world. But you could come down here and do whatever. It's just the Alva nodes, basically. It's very, very simple, as you can see. So nothing crazy there on the tree, and again, you can continue expanding upward if you want some like passive effects, maybe like vivid memories or remnants of the past. You don't have to think about it. You just clear the map boss, get some more loot. That's all cool. So no problem there at all. But yeah, that's overall the build. If there's any questions, just post them down in the comments below. I'm going to go and play the boss compilation, but otherwise, that's about it for the Zero to Hero. To end on a couple points, I guess before that plays, is when making your character upgrades, you want to think about, you know, getting really, really high life, or yes, or whatever it is. What's your main defense, right? Plus some resistance on the cheapest piece of gear possible, right? You want to make really, really efficient purchases. In terms of damage, you want to have the, you know, something solid, you know, but it doesn't have to be too crazy. You don't have to go full into damage usually. Again, get what you need for the content, right? I don't need to be one-shotting, you know, Uber Elder or something like that, right? I don't need to be farming up tens and tens of divines for like a crazy axe. You can end up getting some really, really cheap gear here, which is really good. Additionally, you can look for things where the gear is not necessarily crafted yet. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like, you know, there's no craft on this, like this increased damage during any flask effect, right? That wasn't on there. That was something that I put on there. So, you know, being able to fill in those affixes is really, really important. Like boots, for instance, I didn't need too much movement speed on the build, just because like I have leap slam and such, right? Which is really, really nice. And for my Anoint, I have Hatchet Master, so I get onslaught. So I'm decently mobile enough in the boss fights. It's not really that much of a problem. So I didn't need super high movement speed. I just went for life and armor, a lot of res, as you can see, and then just crafted my own movement speed. So there's things like that you can do as well, which is really, really nice. And yeah, that's overall where we're at. As you can see, the gem levels are not even maxed out. This is definitely not, you know, the highest quality of things, but it gets the job done. In a league start scenario, this is probably where you'll be. You may not be at level 20 gems or have the most insane gear, even when trying to kill those 4 bosses, meaning the Eater, Exarch, Maven, and Uber Elder. So that's really, really important. We didn't do any invitations, but this could definitely do some invitations. This could definitely do like Form, Twisted, some of the starter invitations, maybe even the Forgotten potentially. I'm not sure about the Hidden though. The Hidden's pretty tough, but that could definitely get you started if you want to do some like Destructive play or something. And then of course with more investment, eventually you can kill everything, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's where we were overall at. Hopefully you enjoyed the series and such. And without further ado, let's let the boss compilation play.
Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
The appointed time is here. Victory will be ours.
Annihilation. Disintegration. Cleansing. Annihilation. Incineration. Disintegration. Annihilation. Annihilation. Incineration. Cleansing. Annihilation. The fires of 1,000 suns. You do not have the strength, hatchling.
That may be, but I am not alone.
How pathetic. Disintegration, cleansing, incineration, annihilation, annihilation, disintegration, cleansing. Incineration. Annihilation. Surprises.
Arrived to challenge me before this realm. The prize piece comes to join
My collection.
Turned tenfold. Space aligns. Behold my collection. Needs to replenish. Time contorts. Scary. Scary.
My irritation is growing. Stand still. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. Cascade of pain. Do what I say. Stand still.
Death made real.
Cascade of pain. Do what I say. Stand still. Oh!
Stop resisting. Reality bends. Punishment inescapable.
Arrogant toy. Stand still. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. Take this. A cascade of pain. Stand still. will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. Stand still.
The living Tory must enjoy our content.
I may not
Father, no!
putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!